Once again, Persha's rumors are not going away, so we'll be talking about him. And also, there's a few other names potentially outgoing, such as Mateta, that's coming back on the agenda. And as you guys can see from the title, who is Palace's best signing since getting promoted back in 2013? But there's a twist. You can't say Zaha. And more. Let's get started with the latest edition of Palace News. What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. Very late today, but better late than never. Trying to stay more consistent, so we're on the agenda there. But as always, people, if you do enjoy the content, make sure to smash the like button and also subscribe if you're new here. It helps us out massively. We've been doing brilliantly over the past week or so, so if you can do that, that'll be much appreciated. As I said in the intro, and Patrick will be joining me shortly as well to discuss who our best signing since promotion is. Actually, you can send in the answers. We'll read them out towards the end of the show. I'm going to go through the transfer news. I'll be honest today, the transfer news ain't as decent as it has been previously. It's pretty much similar stuff that we've heard, but we'll talk a bit about Mateta as well, because I think that's the most important one today. But of course, the biggest thing is in the title, our best signing since promotion. And this doesn't mean value. You can't get it wrong, or actually you can get a wrong answer. I'll be the judge of that, but you can't get a right answer. There's no right answers here, because you might think our best signing is, let's say, Saka, for example, for the impact that he done in a short period of time. Or you might say it's Maka for the price and the longevity. You might say it's Punchin for keeping us up. But you can't say one name, and that is Wilfried Zaha. That's the name that you can't say. Apart from that, feel free to say whatever name. But look, we'll go through that towards the end of the show, people. Let's get started with news first. I want to get that out of the way, as always. Trying to stay consistent. Consistency is key. Trying to do that as much as possible. So there wasn't much going on today, in all honesty, in the Palace world after yesterday's defeat. And the big thing is Wilfried Zaha. Up until what happens then, I guess there won't be much going on in terms of news. But yeah, Tim, it is late for me. Not going to be as late for Patrick, who's going to be joining me. But yeah, today, unfortunately, due to work and all of that, just couldn't do it earlier. So start at 10:30 p.m. UK time. Then after this, time to go to the gym. So the night is still young for me, technically. So look, I'm already seeing one name, and that's Soloff. I don't know where we're getting that from. I think that might be in the wrong category, but fair enough. If you can prove it, Clark, then if you get I'll justify your answer, then I'll take it. But before we do actually get into names and our best signings since promotion, let's go over some of the news that we talked about yesterday. And that was on Persha. And there's another update today. Well, the update yesterday was from DAZN Italia journalist, and today is something similar in the sense that the Torino defender Persha's has already agreed personal terms on a contract with Crystal Palace, despite having contacted by Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur. The defender has worked out personal terms on a contract with the Eagles. So I don't want to delve too much into it. There's no point. It's going to get a bit boring talking about him. But personal terms are agreed, according to DAZN Italia, and according to what we saw yesterday as well. So there's no major surprises there, in honesty, people. Whether that fee gets agreed, well, yesterday it seemed like fee was agreed as well. I don't think he's going to sign for us. Still don't think he's going to sign for us this week or so. I think this is more about signing and agreeing terms to a player who could potentially join us if one of Gahey or Anderson was to leave. So I think it's nothing more than that. And right now, Gahey and Anderson doesn't seem like they're leaving. So I'm not going to look too much into it. But look, if they were to leave, it seemed like we got a player lined up, which is good. Look at the positive side of things. I don't think for now we're going to spend that much money. Well, reportedly yesterday was 35 million euros on a player. But look, terms are agreed. That's good. So it's a case of, would you want him to replace one of Anderson, Gahey? I think that should be the conversation rather than always joining Palace, because I don't think that's the case yet, especially with Liverpool and Tottenham involved. But look, that's that Persha's. I want to move away from that, because I'm tired. I'm tired today in general, but I'm tired of talking about him because it seems like it's about to be done when reality is I don't think it is. And the next one for the incomings, we'll talk about incomings first, then we'll talk about outgoings, is Demarai Gray, which we've been relatively used to over here in the Palace news world. He has been linked with Palace for a while. In fact, I did watch him for Jamaica in Gold Cup, and I'm pretty sure someone who's going to join me relatively soon could also back this up as well. That he played relatively solid for Jamaica. His final balls was the standout for me. But then again, there's rumors about Saudi Arabia being involved in Demarai Gray as well. But according to a report from 90 Minute, it claims that Crystal Palace and West Ham are keen on signing the 27-year-old. So, in honesty, there isn't anything that's significantly new in a Demarai Gray aspect. Is just the fact that West Ham, maybe you could say West Ham are involved now as well, which I don't know why, because they've already got their left winger sorted. But I don't think, look, it would be amazing if we did sign Demarai Gray as a backup option to Zaha, but realistically, I don't see that happening. So I think this is just like the Perchers, is the fact that we're having backup options in case things go south in terms of Zaha not signing a new contract. And about that, today, Remy Matthews did actually post something on his Instagram story that took a lot of people's attentions, which was what a guy, and it was a signed shirt from Wilfried Zaha, and people all of a sudden started to make it out as Wilfried Zaha is leaving. I don't think that's the case. Remy Matthews and Zaha are close friends, and Remy Matthews went to his wedding as well. He's just a signed shirt. He, in fact, came out tonight on Twitter, said that he has no relation. He doesn't know if Wilf is leaving or staying. So, yeah. So there was that little bit of drama that went on about an hour or so, but there's nothing confirmed about Zaha. But, yeah, I think if Zaha was to leave, Gray is another option, just like Persher. If Gaio Anderson was to leave, he could be an option as well. We're talking about potential outgoings, and this is where some of you may be happy, depending on the person that's going to join us soon. He might say I have agendas, but Crystal Palace striker Jean-Philippe Mateta is a target for Serie A side Salernitana. Probably butchered that name completely. I apologize to everyone that's Italian that I've offended. While interest in Germany is also emerging. Look, Serie A interest that's been there, but it wasn't. I think it was Torino that was interested in Mateta. But there are a few teams. Then again, I don't see Mateta leaving. Well, he should be leaving for a permanent deal. But based on how Italian sides operate and based on a budget, we've seen in the past when Mateta has been linked with a move away from the club, that move has been a loan move, more like a loan move rather than a permanent move. But for me, I would sell him. I would sell him for about £8 to £10 million. Then again, if teams are willing to pay that, that's another scenario. I don't know if teams are willing to pay that, especially over in Italy. But if it was a loan move, maybe his wages covered, I'll still take that as well. Because in honesty, I don't think he scored some massive goals for us. Don't get me wrong. And that's why I can't hate on the guy. But I don't think he's consistently good enough for the Premier League. But that's not only me. Some of you guys think that as well. So, look, interest in Germany. He played over in Germany, potentially going back there, or Italy. I spoke to someone, he actually supported this team. He said, is Mateta decent enough? What can I say? I said, he's not good enough for the Premier League, but you never know. Maybe if he goes abroad, he could do a decent job, just like he done in Germany. But look, let's bring in our guest. Or not guest, he's the main man here as well. Patrick, you've been hiding behind the scenes, listening to me with the transfer reports. Why didn't you put yourself in?
No, I like hearing you talk.
Oh, you like him at all? Fair enough. So yeah, I mentioned about the transfer news today, and in honesty, look, as much as we like talking about it, there isn't anything significant. It feels more recycled than anything. But Mateta is also linked with a move away. Just quickly, not Demarai Gray or Persher, because I don't think that's anything significant. But Mateta, would you be okay with a loan move away from the club, or would you rather keep him if it doesn't mean that he's gone on a permanent deal?
So first, it's Salernitana is the name of the team, the Italian team. Okay, Salernitana. No, I hope they sell him. Honestly, our fan base has been so down on him. He's clearly not going to make it here under Hodgson, so I have no problem. I mean, I'm a big fan of his as far as the massive goals, but no, I like him. Why load him? Just sell him. This is a loan with the option to buy at the end. I have no issue with getting rid of him at this point. My fear is that we won't replace him, but honestly, he's not going to improve or get any better. He's not going to play under Hodgson. He hardly did the first time under him, didn't play under him a lot the last, over this last 10 games when he was here. So I like him a lot, honestly, as a person and what he's done, but I have no problem having him leave, honestly. No problem at all.
What about on a loan move then? So you're talking about selling him, but loan move,
Again,
would you be okay with that?
only if there's an option to buy. I don't really see a point. Why loan him out? Besides the wages, which I think is a massive wages. Why loan him out when honestly, put him on the bench, you might get a goal every once in a while against Leicester. Do you know what I mean? I don't see the point in loaning him. Either we sell him or we keep him. But I don't like loaning him at all. No, I don't like the loan idea now.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think as well in the comment section down below if you're watching us live in the live comment section as well. Would you be okay with Mateta leaving out on loan, or does it have to be a permanent deal? For me, permanent deal is the best case scenario, but I wouldn't rule out loaning him out over to Italy or Germany for a season, maybe with an option to buy, even without an option to buy, as long as they can cover his wages, because that could probably help us if we're that tight with our budget in the first place. And reportedly he's on £50,000 a week. We don't know how true that is because it doesn't work like certain sports where we know exact figures, but that's still a decent amount of money. That's still a decent amount of money that we could be saving for a season, but it's about finding a replacement. You loan him out, then you just left with Edward unless you go and sign another player, which is the biggest question. Will we do that? Will we do that? That's another thing, which I'm not too sure about. But look, people, if you're enjoying it, make sure to smash the like button. A loan won't be what he wants either. Yeah, look, there's been reports that he wants to leave. He wants to leave. We've seen it as soon as the season ended that Mateta is looking for a move away from Palace, which I don't blame him because Roy Hodgson previously didn't give him that many opportunities, so he didn't rate him when he was permanent manager previously, and it hasn't worked. Well, what would you say he has worked out for him at Palace? Because in terms of actual big goals, he scored some massive goals, but he hasn't had consistent game time. So how would you sum up his time at Palace, Patrick?
I want to say again, because I'm always going to back the time. Yes, the beginning wasn't great on the Hodgson. He scored the goal against Brighton. But honestly, I'm going to say again, when we signed him on a permanent deal, and I know you and I have gone back and forth, and you were right. We probably shouldn't have signed him to that deal. He scored some massive goals in that FA Cup run and a couple of league goals, the Wolves goal, the Norwich goal. So he had a little stretch there. He never really got like a long run under Vieira or under Hodgson. But honestly, that's been our issue. I mean, we haven't had any one of our strikers like grab that number 9 shirt, for lack of a better term, right? And play for 30 straight games, whether it be lack of form, the way that we play, injuries for Edward, whatever it's been. So he hasn't really had a thing. But to be honest with you, he, overall, there have been times when he just hasn't performed well. But again, tons of memorable moments, more than a lot of our strikers in the past have had. Tons of big goals against big rivals. Again, Millwall, Brighton. But overall, because our fan base has been so down on him and he hasn't really, hit the heights.
We can't blame the fan base, Sir Patrick. Yeah, I know.
I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that the fact that people want him to be gone. I'm not saying that.
But yeah, there's a reason though. There's a reason. And I think Edward will probably enter that bracket as well. Like a lot of people 100%. Won't be upset if Edward was to leave as well. And this is where the conversation comes, because even today I saw a tweet saying that it was something about strikers, but the reality is what our striker situation is. In 10 years that we've been in the Premier League, we've only had one good striker for one season, and that was Benteke. And the reason for that is good strikers coming out at premium. It's not a cheap option to fill.
And we don't pay one time.
We're not willing to pay premium. So here we are. We have to try a gamble and find a way through. But then again, that will add up. If you're talking about a £50 million to Edward, then you add £10 million to Mateta. That is about £25 million that you just spent there by taking a low risk gamble, where in reality is that money adds up. That's about £25 million gone, just like that.
That's a great point.
So, in the future, one thing that we need to do is, if you want to bring in a striker, let's actually try to go for a quality striker. We know that strikers don't come easy. And it's not an easy position to recruit for many different reasons, whether they fit in the system, whether they fit in the league, because majority of the time, you get strikers from abroad or from the championship, which we've done well in other positions in the championship. But for striker, unfortunately, we have to pay a premium. So let's just do that rather than adding up all these £5 to £10 million signings, where they're going to add up to 30 to 40 million pound in the next few years in the first place. So it's going to be an important decision for the club to make. But if Mateta was to leave, we need to bring in another player. That's clear for day. We need to bring in another striker right now, even if Mateta and Edward was to stay. So the club need to find a solution to it. Whether that's Wilfred Zaha, I'm not too sure. It depends on what the club see him in Roy Hodgson's system for the upcoming season. EPL isn't for everyone though. Yeah, I mean, look at Soloff. Soloff didn't do that well at Palace. Then he went to Turkey, absolutely ripped it to pieces. But then I was saying the same thing. Like, it's only the Turkish league. But with all due respect, I don't have to say that because I'm literally from there. So I know the qualities of the Turkish league. Right. And what happened? He was linked with Real Madrid. I remember Bayern Munich, Leipzig, all these top quality teams. And I think he's doing done well last season, done okay. But he was never that player that he was in Turkey, because that league, in terms of quality, in terms of space for defenders, it's different ball game. It's different ball game to the Premier League, and you might even make that comparison to the Bundesliga compared to the Premier League. Then Bundesliga has its own strengths, but even the likes of Jadon Sancho, who was destroying it over there, and then come to Man United, he's not really doing as much. Just like Mateta as well. I don't think Mateta destroyed the Bundesliga, but based on scouting him there, it's hard. It's hard to translate that. Benteke's hold-up play was brilliant. He helped get our players up the pitch. Mateta doesn't have that. Oh, Edouard de Point. Yeah, exactly. Last season, I was thinking, why didn't we just keep Benteke? Why? Yeah. Why not? Because I feel like he probably could have offered more in certain games, especially when we weren't getting shots on target. Like, beat the ball up to him, and he brings the ball down and gives it to one of our creative players, and you beat the defense like that.
But again, D, a great point about Benteke, but again, I'm not blaming our fan base, but a lot of people were very down on Benteke. He didn't score enough goals, blah, blah, blah. And I would always say, the hold-up play is underrated, because you need that as a striker. When you're a team that doesn't have possession of the ball, you need a player up front. The ball will stick, get it to Zaha, get it to Elisa, get it to Eze. But people were like, no, he doesn't score enough goals. And we had a joke about he's a defensive striker. Remember that joke we had about him?
Well, he was a defensive striker under Roy Hodgson. He was. Right. He was.
Right.
He was. But Patrick, Look, people had a point because he wasn't scoring as much goals. But I think where it went wrong for Benteke is that Bournemouth penalty. Of course, he had that injury as well. But remember, that Bournemouth penalty, he took it away from Luka Milivojevic. Right, and then from there onwards, I think he just lost people. He just lost people because he missed that penalty. And even without people thinking, people might say that's ridiculous, but even without people just thinking it, like, just in the back of their minds, I think that played a part in terms of like how they viewed Benteke. Do you get it? And he lost confidence. He lost confidence that he never got back. But despite that, I think his hold-up play was still decent. So, I think Benteke right now, if we had Benteke, he would be our best striker out of Edouard and Mateta, without a doubt.
And by the way,
he scored goals under Vieira with 5 goals. It's not that much, but
he's the MLS All-Star. I know it doesn't mean much to you. Only the MLS, he's in the All-Star team. I'm just saying. And they're playing Arsenal next week. I'm just saying he's having a great season under Rooney in DC United. So I'm just saying. Yeah. Just American. That's not, we don't rate American football, so I get that part. So
yeah, well, we just said the same about Soloff as well. We can't just make like America is like near enough the Premier League.
Messi's in this league. Just saying.
Here we go. You lot got that, man. You lot got the Messi tax now. You got the Messi tax. You can hype it up with Messi. You can hype it up with Messi. He's there on a vacation. You just coming on a Saturday to kick a ball around for 9 minutes.
Going on a game. He's here to just collect that paycheck. That's all right. It's all good. I understand.
Tawanda says Samaka is possibly available.
Wow, yeah. How much is he going to cost from West Ham?
Yeah, it's not coming. I don't think West Ham will send him to Palace, I'll be honest. I'm lost. If he was to leave, I don't think he'll come to Palace as well. I don't know why he would leave West Ham.
Always the Hodgson. Yeah, I don't think there's an upgrade there as far as, quality of play and getting chances. But who knows? Maybe he likes Hodgson. Who knows? You never know.
Yeah.
Unlikely.
Yeah,
very good player.
Yeah. Ahmed says never seen Mateta win a header in my life. Do you remember the video?
But anyway.
Oh yeah, Millwall. Yeah, remember the video with Zaha?
I know.
Yeah.
And that's what I said about the fan base. See, stuff like that, like
But that's not even the fan base. That's our greatest player of all time. You can
but I'm saying because that went out on social media, people picked up on it and said, "Ah ha ha." Before that, honestly, when you think about Mateta and headers that much, not really, right? All of a sudden now, Zaha makes that comment, it goes viral. All of a sudden, oh yeah, he's
true though. But it's true.
No, I'm not saying it's not true. But my point is, it becomes a narrative, though. I didn't say it's not true, but it becomes a narrative that people hang on to. Do you know what I mean? That's how it is, man.
Yeah. But that Mateta in the room as well, Chan. Crisis says, I think the problem with Tekers is we stopped playing to his strengths. That man needs quality balls in from wide, and he'll do the business more often than not.
Man.
Who got the best out of him? Big Sam. Why?
Yeah.
Balls into the box. It's so simple. It's so simple. But then again, at times his positioning wasn't as great. In terms of in the box. Like, I don't know. Sometimes he'll be at the far post when he should be at the front post. Like there's space to run into, but he will stay with the defender rather than moving the defender. So that was an issue with him. I don't think Benteke was our answer to it all. There's a reason why he left Palace. But yeah, right now the fact that we're talking about Benteke compared to Edouard and Mateta shows how deep down we are in the mud. I mean, you can make the argument none of them are good enough for Palace in the Premier League right now. Are they? So that's that, we just need to strengthen. We need to strengthen in quality rather than just numbers as well. Patrick, can you see the title? Let's move on to this. Who is Palace's best signing since promotion? If you're just joining us now, excluding Zaha, send in your comments. If you're watching a replay, make sure to leave down your comments down below. Because that's an easy one. It's Zaha, right? That's Zaha. End of topic.
You can't pick our top 5 though. I mean, I can't. I already have a 5 in my head. I can't pick just one. I've got a top 5, and Zaha was number 1. So
and I said so Zaha's number 1. Then we'll go to your number 2. But before we actually get your best player or best players that you want to include in that bracket, there isn't a wrong answer. No. Sorry, there is a wrong answer. So you can have wrong answers, but there isn't a right answer because we're not doing this in terms of value. There's no rules to this. There's no in terms of value. It's about what you make of it. Who do you think is our best player in promotion? That might be for big moments. Jason Punch is one of them. That might be for, I don't know, Connor Wickham scoring against Watford in the semi-final.
I was there.
You might think it depends on you. But send in your responses now. We'll be going through them. Patrick, as you said, Zaha, for both of us, Zaha is our number 1 signing. You've had a lot of players that you've liked over the years. Jason Punchin.
Right.
You've, to be fair, you haven't liked many. Apart from Jason Punchin. You can't class Yannick Bolasie there because he was already at Palace since promotion. Scott Dan, he was important for us. You can make that argument. He was sang with us there. MacArthur.
I'm a massive James MacArthur.
MacArthur. And did you see his article? Just quickly going off topic with the read it with the Athletic. He wants to become a future Palace manager. That's what he said.
Vieira and he likes Hodgson. I read it.
Yeah. He praised Vieira and he likes Hodgson. A few players. Look, there's a lot more. There's a lot more that we could make.
Joe Ledley.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't include him in that category. I think the Scott Dan Punchin's take over the Ledley. I think Ledley was a solid player, but I don't think he was in that same bracket because Joe Ledley pretty much joined similar time to the likes of Maka. Joe Ledley joined with Tom Ince. I remember that transfer deadline. It was a deadline day or was that window anyways. He joined with Tom Ince. And Scott Dan.
They scored.
Yeah, they scored against Stoke at home. I have a weird memory. I remember that, but I won't remember what I had for dinner. But yeah, literally, there's so you can include that. But go on, give me your number 2 option.
Behind Zaha?
Yeah, behind Zaha.
It'll be Jason Punchin. No doubt about it. 100%.
So why is Jason Punchin our best signing since promotion?
Well, again, I want to actually add Yohan Cabaye because Yohan Cabaye was a massive signing. Great player, big name, coming to Palace under Pardew, the whole, massive player. But for me, there you go, see, Yohan Cabaye. For me, it's Punch, and I'll tell you why. The moments are there. The moments, the goals, single-handedly kept us up at least 2 seasons. And the biggest moment for me, and I don't go to every Palace match. I was at the FA Cup final. He scored that goal, D, and I literally started to cry thinking Palace were going to win the FA Cup. That moment meant so much to me at that point. I could not believe Palace were up against United in an FA Cup final. We were that close to it. So for me, Punch, plus he's a local lad from South London, from down the road. I mean, for me, Punchin, if he's not going to be Zaha, would be there. But again, Cabaye, MacArthur, brilliant players. But Punchin had so many moments as a Palace player. The goal that he scored, the Norwich goal that he scored, he starts crying. I mean, for me, Punchin, to me, was such a good player. Yes, he fell off towards the end of the Palace career. But prior to that, man, and that guy changed positions from a winger to a midfielder, was captain of our team. For me, Punchin, to me, has to be, if it's not Zaha, in the Premier League era, our number 1 signing and number 1 during that. He was brilliant, absolutely fantastic for us.
Well, what about Maka, though? Don't you think Maka's had a big enough influence as well.
Macca has
because
been
he was in those teams.
But he doesn't have those. See, I remember I looked at that plus those moments. Now, Macca was a part of those teams. I mean, McJedley is a big part in the MacArthur, Jedi, and Ledley is a big part of it. Don't get me wrong. But for me, the moments that we had, again, when we were struggling that season, when we could have, under Pardew and Punch gets the goal again, the FA Cup final goal. The season after that, Puncher just had. Macca was a great player, but he doesn't have the moments for me. Doesn't have those moments for me over the longer period as much as Punchin does.
Yeah, I've seen some funny names so far. I've seen Jordan March. I've seen Nathan Ferguson. I've seen
Kenny Ferguson. Wow.
I've seen Yak as well. I've seen different names. Yeah. But one name that's been coming out more than Punchin is Jimmy Mack. Jimmy Mack, and that the Athletics article. If you haven't already done so, make sure to go and read it. Matt Wisdom.
I get it, right? Recency bias. I mean, it's because the article come out, he just retired.
But is it recency bias though? Is it recency bias when
you really think that? You really think
200 appearances?
You think it had bigger moments for Palace than Jason Punchin? Really? Everybody really think that?
But what I think Macca done, no, Punchin probably had bigger moments,
right?
But Macca was the engine of the team where, without him, does the team run as smoothly? Because he put in effort, man. No, but he put in effort. That's what I'm saying. I think he's underrated. I think he's underrated.
That midfield was not called Macca. It was called McJedley because Macca, Jedinak, and Ledley were the three together. It was the three. It wasn't just because of MacArthur. Big part of that midfield, don't get me wrong, but Ledley and Jedinak were a massive part of the midfield. Then you had their Punchin on the wing. So for me, of course, I'm not denigrating what MacArthur did. I'm saying my opinion, if you want to play Macca, I got no problem. In my opinion, the moments that Punchin had, including that cup final goal, and the Norwich goal, you can't match those moments. You can't match the moments. Now, as a player, Kabay was a better player than Punchin, technically, and all that, and was a brilliant player. But he doesn't have the moments for me that Punchin has. Now, he does have the quarterfinal goal. Yeah, he had a quarterfinal penalty goal where he scored against Reading, so that's a big moment. But for me, Punchin has so many moments that I can't forget. But again, I'm not saying if you pick Kabay, fair play to you. If you pick MacArthur, fair play to you. I'm saying for me, it's Punchin.
Well, look, a lot of people won't disagree with you.
Who are you
about
picking?
That. I'll say it towards the end. I just want to see names. Kabay, as you can see, Amit says
Townsend was Townsend is an underrated great signing for the Premier League. I agree with that.
Townsend had some big moments as well.
Man City goal was ridiculous. So
yeah, that was
Townsend is an underrated great signing.
Is that best goal since getting promoted? Just off the top of your head, I'm just trying to
individual
think.
Goal, yes.
Yeah.
Not team goal.
Not the biggest, yeah. Because the punching at Norwich, that comes into my head straight away in terms of significance. That was a massive goal. Yeah, at home in terms of survival. It's gonna be fun. Instead of punching next year, we could talk about Eze keeping us up or going down.
Someone's got to do it this season. I'll tell you that's to be the hero. Because I predict we're going to be struggling, so hopefully someone can step up and keep us up.
That's according to you. Learner says Eze definitely has the potential to be our best signing ever, but too early now to say. Well, okay, if you exclude Zaha, then yeah, but going back to your days, Lombardo, how would you okay,
you want to say my days, like I'm old, which I am. But remember, Palace were old in the Premier League that time, one season. We get relegated, get promoted. It's not like we played in the Premier League for the first, in the first 3 seasons because we were the, inaugural members of Premier League. Palace never stayed in the Premier League more than a season. So I can't name anybody because there's no one has any legs. That's why this is our best era, clearly, 10 years in the Premier League. But it's not like I can go back and say, well, yeah, back in the 90s we had 10. We don't have anything to compare it to. Back then, okay, it would probably be Ian Wright and Mark Bright, but they were in the Premier League together for 1 season. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't think Wright and Bright even played in the Premier League on the Palace. They actually went to Sheffield Wednesday and Arsenal and played. They weren't even Premier League players, Palace, because 92 was the first. I think Wright was definitely sober. So there's no one to compare him to. Gareth Southgate. I mean, honestly, there's like no one.
Our
It's
future
like John
manager. Our future
Palazzo.
manager. Yeah, let's prop him up now.
You know what I mean? Alan Pardew
you-
wasn't even a Premier League player for Palace. I mean,
You know who's a very underrated signing, not by Palace fans, but by neutrals? Because when his name comes up, Shamak, spell it uniquely. I've never seen it spelled like that. But Shamak is the one that is massively
that
underrated.
would be, that's what actually you should have a who's our best and who's our most underrated, because Shamak would be underrated. I agree with you. He wouldn't be.
Well, do you think he's not underrated by Palace fans though? Is he?
Nah, we rate him because he's a you know what he is? He's a cult hero. So yeah, we don't. But I think other people don't understand.
He was just scared to shoot at times. But apart from that, his game was fantastic.
Anyway,
his game, his build-up play and stuff. Yeah, technically, it was brilliant.
Brilliant technically,
yeah. Crane says to elaborate on Guaita. So you think it is Vicente Guaita? I don't think so. He's made some very important saves, and one of those games a cool head, great character. He's a great character, but I just think, Maka goes above Guaita.
He'd be our best goalkeeper signing by far. Not even close, right? I mean, no one's.
Well, we signed a few. To be fair, we tried it. It's not going to be Wayne Hennessy or
McCarthy, Hennessy. Oh, you have Hennessy over Guaita, wouldn't you? You like?
No, I wouldn't. I didn't like Hennessy, but
we had a lot of goalkeeper signings, Steve. Think about it.
We have, but majority of them didn't work out until recently with Guaita. Guaita started a trend that we can actually recruit a goalkeeper.
Look, I agree.
Mandanda. He was the one that I was like, damn, we're gonna elevate. You have him combine the squad as well. Like that was the start. But I think Guaita is like the first proper goalkeeper that literally made us actually serious about goalkeepers, because boy, we had some howlers in goal. We had some absolute howlers, with all due respect. Mitch saying Andros probably isn't best overall, but maybe closest to my heart. Was so thrilled.
That's fair.
When he signed, and so his highlights meant more.
Yeah.
I was actually excited as well because he had a very good end to Newcastle. I think Newcastle got relegated. I remember, and then we signed him. I was like, you know what? There's a play in him. There was. He was a very decent player for us, Andros. So yeah, it was a decent signing. I think Maka's influence has stretched beyond just his performances on the pitch. Massive influence in the dressing room, I think, as well. Yeah, you see like it as well. Great leader. Maybe future Palace manager. We'll see.
I take him over the other Mac. I'll take MacArthur over McCarthy any day.
That's harsh, man. That's harsh. Is
it?
That's harsh.
Okay.
Yeah, that is.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, Adebayo, Max Meyer. Max Meyer was
I love Max.
He was the one that
didn't
was.
Work out.
It didn't work out. It didn't work out, and I remember Roy got a lot of slack about it though, Patrick, because it was like he was our only creative player, and we weren't playing him. But do you think in hindsight Roy got it right, based on how his career's gone? He went to Fenerbahce, so he might do a Zaha. I'm joking. I don't think he's going to Fenerbahce, but Fraser Campbell was.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny, and I understand people do it, and it does make sense, but I never really agree with that. People always do that. They say, well, okay, he wasn't good at Palace, but when he left Palace, he didn't do that well, so and so was right. But sometimes that trajectory changes because of how you did poorly before. So you're right about he didn't do well at Palace and probably hasn't kicked on after. But the guy was the captain of the Olympic German team that was really, really good. The guy, his career just stopped at Palace and never kicked on. So I don't know. It's a hard one. I love Max Meyer. I thought that we underutilized him big time. He lost his confidence. We didn't play him that much. I thought there were times when he was really good, but then we didn't. I don't know. I love the signing. I thought it could have been. We just didn't utilize it. We didn't need that kind of play at that time. But I don't know. It's hard. I even remember Jose Campagna when he signed, when we first got promoted.
I was excited. I was excited about that.
He went on actually to have a really good career in Spain after he left us but again, we didn't utilize him probably that first season. So it's weird. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know.
You might see my facial reactions whilst you're speaking. Like, it's because there's actually like some decent names being put out there that we haven't even mentioned. Okay. Jordan Ayew. What Tim's saying. Ayew, a shout. He was scoring early and has had phenomenal goals. £2 million crazy bargain for what we got out of him. I want to add to that.
Part is a great part. The money part's a great part.
Money part is a great part, but not only that. Without Jordan Ayew,
we don't
And
stay up 1 year.
Guaita in 2019, we're not Premier League club right now.
I agree.
He's goals.
Listen, I've always said that.
So where would you rank? Jordan Ayew in terms of close to Puncheon? Because Puncheon, yes, he did keep us up as well, but then Jordan Ayew played a key part as well.
Puncheon did it over 2 seasons that had the FA Cup goal. I love Jordan Ayew, but Jordan Ayew did it for that 1 year. Puncheon,
but he's still doing it now, isn't he? He's still performing now. He's still performing now for Palace.
I agree, but he's not Jason Puncheon levels. And listen, I'll give Tim, that's a great shout because of the money part. It's a bargain because Puncheon didn't cost us a lot, but he wasn't 2 million. But I'm sorry, I'm not comparing Jordan Puncheon to Ayew. Puncheon's much better than Ayew, and I'm not trying to put that Ayew because I'm one of his biggest admirers. No way, I'm sorry. If I'm picking between Puncheon and Ayew, it's Puncheon all day. Every day. That's
a good to Patrick. That's a good to Patrick. But if you're enjoying the stream, people, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content, and make sure to smash the like button as well. Let's go through some more comments. Ahmed is saying Luca is one who had a massive impact when he first signed.
Yeah,
he did.
We missed out our captain.
But I think I wouldn't call him our best signing, but he did score goals for us in the penalty spot.
2 seasons. Bro, he was linked to Arsenal out his 3rd season. Remember? We were about losing to Arsenal. Remember, he was linked to Arsenal after those 2 seasons he had. So that's a great shout, Ahmed. Again, Luca, people, what happened is, again, recency bias. He ended up having a very poor last 2 seasons. People want to remember that only. But Luca was massive when we first signed him. Those penalties, free kicks, no. It's a great shout, Ahmed. Luca he's not, again, for me, not as massive a Puncheon, but it's a great shout again. I love it.
Yeah. So Henry says my top 5 other than Wilf is probably Puncheon, Kabay, Townsend, McCarthy, and Schlupp. Just off the top of my head, though, I'll probably miss something.
I like the first 4. I mean, Schlupp's fine, but I wouldn't put him up there. But I love the first 4. I love Puncheon, Kabay, Townsend, McCarthy. I can't put Schlupp up there. I don't. Schlupp has Schlupp's a great part of the squad. He doesn't have a single moment for me that I remember. Do you have one?
He's a squad. He's a squad player more than anything. I can't think of it right now.
You know what I mean? I can't think of it. You know what I mean? For me, you got to have a moment that stands out. You know, Townsend's got the Man City goal. McCarthy's got the Watford goal. Puncheon's got FA Cup goal. The Norwich goal. Kabay is Kabay. I mean, Kabay's got the Arsenal goal for one. It was a brilliant Arsenal goal. You know what I mean? I don't have a moment for Schluppy, and I don't have a problem. So I won't put him down. He's not that
we've come a long way. I know we still don't have a proper striker, but I remember rating Cameron Drone for the sake of him running. Work ethic. That was it.
The work rate was ridiculous.
Yeah, work ethic. I remember Cameron Drone. Yeah, work rate was absolutely fantastic. We've come a long. How on earth are we still in the Premier League when some of these players that we've had? I don't even know myself. Fraser Campbell, I thought he scored a few goals here and there. Yeah. Damn, with all due respect, we've had some.
Bro, Adebayor.
Yeah, but Adebayor makes a bit more sense. Adebayor's done it on a big stage, but Cameron Drone and Fraser Campbell.
Yeah, but we've had some.
Yeah.
They played the semi-final against Watford, and I was there. I saw him come on for Watford, and so I mean, the guy played the big match for Palace, so it's not like he. But I mean, you're right. We have come. That's that. But D, go back to your point before about a striker. You're right, mate. You have to be so lucky with a striker, or just put out some big money because you just can't get them at our level. Benteke was the outlier. We went to Liverpool. We spent the money. Blah blah blah. He was coming off a bad season. We got him, and he kept us up 17 goals, and then he fell off, right? Because that was going to happen, right? We wouldn't put it past in the first place. But to get that striker, like an Ollie Watkins or Ivan Toney, you got to go deep into the championship and pluck someone's best player. And, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. You got to take a chance.
There's a few mentions of Van Aanholt, but with all due respect, not for me.
Listen, PVA.
That's not best. I don't think that's our best signing.
Listen,
I'll be honest.
Had some good moments.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Had some good moments, but when we talk about best, I don't, I mean, he's got some absolute howlers. Remember when we lost 7-0 to Liverpool? Jeez.
Got no comment.
Oh my, yeah.
You did a watch along for that too.
Go watch that back, people. We don't watch alongs. For everyone that's new here, we've done some watch alongs in some miserable.
Back of this YouTube. Go back and look at them.
That's what I'm convinced. The fact that we managed to do watch along back then, where some games we barely had any shots on target, and we managed to do watch along for 90 minutes. I think we can do watch along for whatever game. I think we can do watch along for Sunday League games. I mean, that was a character development watch-alongs. Like that was like trying to stay safe.
That's why I'm still. People want to.
Yeah, I know. I can tell. I can tell. I can tell.
Okay,
You got a scar from them. But then again, it wasn't as bad when Roy joined again. But yeah,
I agree with that. But
yeah,
the back of my head is still there. That's I can't.
But that's what I said. What did I say? I'm actually tired. But I said something about back of our mind. Benteke, for example, in the back of our mind with Benteke. That's why some people wrote him off because it's in the back of their head about Bournemouth and this and that. Right. So yeah, for some people they just wrote him off, and that's with you with Roy. That's with you with Roy, for example.
Right, exactly. You're trying not to, but you can't help yourself.
You just remember. Yeah, you just remember the negative.
Negative stuff. Right, exactly. Right. It's just tough.
Not saying this is our best signing, but Saka almost single-handedly kept us up when he came on loan. He did.
Sacco. He did some weird stuff, but the guy was quality, man. I love Sacco. Again, it didn't work out, but man, Sacco.
Yeah, when he came on loan, we played that brilliantly that we managed to sign him on a permanent deal. Right. Sacco was fantastic. It was him alongside Tompkins? Because Scott Dan at that point reaches. Was it Scott Dan? I think it was Scott Dan.
I think it was Scott Dan. It was Dan.
Was it Scott Dan?
Was less injured than Tompkins back then. It was definitely, it had to be Dan with him, in the back.
But then Scott Dan went through a period where he just lost it. Like he dropped to the bench. And that was when he became captain. Remember, we were talking about this stream, by the way, we're doing like a Palace memory lane trip. Memory lane trip. But we're trying to stay consistent, people. So that's all that matters. We've been here tonight, managed to talk about. As I said, if you want to go to the news section, that happened at the start. I'll be honest, there isn't anything significant. I'm enjoying this chat a bit more. But remember, when Jason Puncheon got the captaincy, and you know how I felt. Like I feel like he just dropped the performance, but people kept backing him when his performances dropped. He dropped the performance. And Scott Dan, similar thing. When he became captain, he dropped. Is captaincy cursed at Palace? I mean, you as captain. I don't know. I remember Scott Dan and Jason Puncheon, after they became captains, that's when the downfall started to happen. And there was even debates about whether captaincy is too much. Is it like dealing with too much pressure, etc.? Who else is there that became captain that didn't?
Puncheon. Same thing. Puncheon's kind of.
I said Puncheon. I said Scott Dan, but who became captain?
Luca.
Luca. Is that a shout? I don't know. It's Luca shout potentially, but then again, who has been our captain since then? In terms of permanent captain, there's been but he's been our actual captain. Right. He's not the captain of the football club.
Luca's captain whenever he would start last year was captain.
Yeah, so it's been Luca, Scott Dan. Am I looking into it too much? Because I remember at the time though, after the captaincy thing, these players fell off. I don't know about Luca. In all honesty, I can't remember Luca falling off after becoming captain.
The one who never fell off was Jednak. Jednak was the captain when we got promoted and was until Pardew came around. He was the captain and doing great. So you're right. I mean, it was after that it became like a Scott Dan, Jason.
Jednak fell out with Pardew, no?
100%.
Oh, Maka was Maka ever officially
a little bit.
Yeah. But then again, injuries came to him and caught up with him, and that's what happened. And in fact, in our Athletics article. He actually spoke about, maybe did he do too much, and he kind of admits it. He pushed himself a lot, and potentially that's why. But he's saying that I managed to play 30 or 40 games. I think it was under Vieira. When he got a hamstring injury, and he was out for forever. It feels like he apparently picked up that injury after 8 minutes, but he got subbed off in the 80th minute, for example. He said that, huh? Yeah, so he went through it. Yeah, exactly. He was like, I need to help my teammates. And he's not saying this for the sake of saying it. Even during COVID, you can hear him on a touchline screaming.
I remember that.
As motivation. So he was a fantastic character. And behind the scenes, he's going to be the one to potentially miss. Maybe not on the field because we've slightly moved on from him. And we got Lerma, Eze, and Decore. But in terms of leaders, he was 100% a leader. And he said in the Athletics article as well.
That's a great point, but that's exactly why, in my opinion, we re-signed Ward, Tompkins, Ayew, and Schlupp. Because you can't lose so many people in the background, like a captain Luca and in MacArthur. So for me, that's exactly why we signed. Because there's no reason, with all respect to Tompkins, there's no reason to re-sign him besides leadership, because he doesn't add anything on it. He hardly plays. But you know that as a leader and as a mentor, he's great for players like I know Wan-Bissaka talks about when he first got into the first team. I was talking, walking through the games. That helped a lot, and having him around the team, I think, is massive. And then hopefully helping players like O'Brien develop, etc. But to have those characters around and those leaders around is important. So with Maka gone, I think Thompson has now become a much big leader on the team. Also, in behind Ward, obviously, and of course again IU and Schluppy.
So, and I think that's why Gyro is staying as well.
Great point.
Especially not in terms
leader,
of for the senior players, but for the youngsters, because that's what we've constantly heard about Gyro. Like he is the plug between the youngsters and first team. Like every time a youngster comes into the first team, he's the one that settles them down. So potentially these are the stuff behind the scenes that we don't see. But then again, it comes at cost. Like it's like the pros and cons. What if you were to move on from him? Do they actually offer much to the first team? But these are stuff behind the scenes. And by the way, Maka ain't retiring yet. He if the right opportunity comes, then he said that he will go for it.
Perfect.
Wrexham, yeah. Well, he's moving up to Scotland apparently in July, so he should be back in Scotland now. But if the right opportunity comes, he still wants to play. And I think he can, even for a Premier League club like a Luton can take gamble on him. He's got Premier League experience.
Do you want to see Maka play? I don't want to see.
I don't want to see him, but I'm talking about if I was Maka. There's clubs in the Premier League like Sheffield United potentially, but then again, he's not going to be in Scotland. So, but he said that he spoke with his wife about the situation, so they're a bit flexible about it. So yeah. There's a super chat. We'll quickly answer that. We're gonna wrap it up in just a second.
Thank you for the super chat. Who's it from?
Really appreciate it, Sergeant Bash. Really appreciate the super chat. What's more important to you at the moment, new right back or striker? That is a very good question. Thank you for the super chat, people.
You go first.
Yeah, whoa! I asked a question basically, so you go first.
I always go first.
All right, cool. I'll go first. Oh damn. It has to be striker. But a right back is not that far behind. The reason why I'm saying a striker is technically we have Joe Ward and Nathaniel Klein, right? That's the whole narrative about it. But in terms of strikers, Edouard and Mateta, I just think is a much worse duo than Joe Ward and Nathaniel Klein in terms of how important a striker is to us and the reliance on Eberechi Eze. So for me, probably a striker. But then again, I have to say this again, a right back is right behind the striker. Like, they're not too far off because I honestly feel like, I didn't say that the other day against Barnet, but Joe Ward was getting beaten left, right, centre. I know it's only the first preseason game, but legs will catch up. It naturally will happen as you get older. So, right back is right behind it. What about you, Patrick?
As much as I understand what you're saying, we will not, unless it's Florian Balogun, who is the right striker. For me, we're not going to get the right striker. So for me, it's a right back. As much as I agree that we need a striker in the worst way because Mateta and Edouard aren't up for it. Even though, even yesterday, I watched Edouard. I'm saying that guy has quality, but he does not look right.
You know what I clocked? I figured it out with Edouard. You know what it is with Edouard? His decision making. That's it. I clocked. Okay. His decision making. He's too slow. Right. He might have the right ideas, but he's too slow to actually execute it. You have to be much faster in his penalty box, even around the penalty box as well, and the outside. And he's just too slow making the decisions, and that's why he gets tackled like that. I think that's what it is.
I think it's an attitude problem, which is why he had a fallout with Vieira. But you might be right. I think it's attitude. I watched him playing Celtic. He didn't play this slow in Celtic. I know it's not Premier League. But anyway, so going back to the question, Sergeant Bash, and thanks again for the super chat. I'm going to go with a right back because I'm telling you right now, I have a serious problem watching Nathaniel Klein and more Joel Ward play right back for us. I can't do it. Like, I can still get through Mateta and Edouard up front, especially Edouard. I think Edouard's got something about him, and if you can get out of him. But at right back, bro, it's bad. Yesterday, preseason, I don't really care, but I'm telling you, I have a problem watching those two at right back. It's hard. And I'm telling you right now, to get a right back like a Sasha Bowie or even Serginho Dest, it upgrades everything about us. Speed in the back, it makes our back four better. It makes Elise or whoever the front end much better. They can.
And I've said this, about
exactly.
Elise.
So to me, will help him. Right back in the worst way. Again, I'm not putting down striker. If you get a 20-goal striker, then it's that. But we're not going to get that right. You can get the right back right. You can get that right at a lower cost. So for me, it's a right back. That's a great question.
Let's see what the chat says. But once again, Sergeant, really appreciate the super chat. If you're enjoying the content, people, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're basically there for 3,600 as we're going towards 4,000. So if you haven't already done so, just hit the subscribe button if you want to see more Palace content, people, as we're preparing for the new season. Gaika says striker all day long. Isaac is saying striker as well. Wood can be solid at times. Yes, we saw it last season, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be one to watch out for next season. Hopefully he has the moments where he can be solid, but legs, it's a matter of when now. When will the legs catch up to him? Like, it could happen this upcoming season, or he might survive this season. So we'll see. For me, right back. So Mitch goes against the narrative about strikers. So he's going right back, even if it's speculative youngster signing. He would prefer that. Striker says Red as well. If money wasn't an issue, Tim saying I would absolutely have Wan-Bissaka back, but it absolutely is an issue. I can't see us paying 35 million or so. So yeah, I would take Wan-Bissaka back as well. 100%. I've said it for ages, and unfortunately, it was close to joining Palace. Well, basically, it seemed like anyways until he had that run of form. Towards the end of December. So yeah, exactly. So it's going to be hard. Anderson at right back. Where are we getting this from? Oh, Gaika said it. I wouldn't have Anderson at right back because I don't think he's a short-term solution, just like Richards. But he's still not a modern right back. He can't do that.
If you're gonna pick one, Richards will be the one. But he's not. He doesn't like playing right back. He can play it better than Anderson can because I've seen him play it for Bayern Munich. But again, he's not a natural right back, so I wouldn't want to see it. But if you're gonna pick someone, then it will be Richards. But
yeah, I think this is an interesting debate as well, and we're gonna wrap up shortly.
Yes, agree. Yeah. Right, great point.
So this is an interesting thing about it. Our right back is our weakness. I do 100% agree with that. But then again, striker can't really be. Can striker be a team? You can't really target a striker, right? Teams can't target a striker. No, you can more target the right back. So right back is our main weakness, but we also need the striker to score the goal. So that's why I'm saying it's very close to each other, but. 100%. If you look at all other areas of the pitch, yes, Mitchell hasn't had or is going through a rough spell, or you might say that's the ceiling. I don't know. I'm not going to say that's the ceiling, but right back is like the obvious one. Like right back is seriously the obvious one.
As an example, remember both Leicester matches, the away game, the 0-0, and then the one we won with Mateta goal. Both times, Harvey Barnes targeted Joe Ward. Both times. Yeah. It was so obvious. And
it's gonna happen next season. It's gonna happen next season.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I want us to solve the problem. That's why when we look to this per shirts player, yeah, I get annoyed, but I understand why, because as I said at the start of the show, I think it's a case of just like Damari Gray. I think we're just lining up these deals, having these contracts in place, just in case one of our players leave, rather than us actually going and signing them. If Wilf wasn't to leave, maybe Damari Gray, we've also that gets more serious. But I think these are behind the scene talk right now. But when we get linked with centre backs and other positions, when we need a right back, it just annoys me. It just annoys me to bits, because it's like, why do we keep avoiding the problem? Like, why? I know we got two right backs there, but we have to solve that position. And honestly, for the love of God, if we don't improve right back next summer, I'm done. But you can host Live Palace News. That's when I officially quit. Like, there's no way.
That's T's job, bro.
Yeah,
me. I
exactly. There's no way that next summer we come here and we don't sign another right back. That's when I'm officially out. If you don't sign another right back next summer, that is the most unserious. That'll be what, 5 seasons, 6 seasons? That'll be absolutely ridiculous. Unless there's a youngster that comes through, then you can use that as a scapegoat. But yeah, I'd rather a left back since we only have one. Yeah, technically have 2 right backs. Yeah, but that's the point though. He's not wrong because we only have 1 left back.
But there's priorities, and he's not one. He's the 3rd priority. Left back is after right back and striker.
Yeah,
right? Well, if Wolf leaves, then obviously that's the priority. But yeah.
Well, it depends on Adam Rolla as well, if he's rated, if he's going to come back. Because we didn't see him. We didn't see him, and people forget about him.
Yeah, I forgot he didn't play. Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
we have Adam
exactly.
Rolla, right?
And we're gonna wrap it up now. But Amit says a better right back would let Elise do so much well attacking wise. And I've screamed this time and time again. If we got another right back that could do defensively as well as attacking, so basically your typical modern right back, I don't think Ward and Klein can do it to the level that any other, typical right back should be doing it at this stage, especially Premier League standard. Elise's game elevates. I said this before. I'll say it again. Elise's game will elevate. The fact that he got how many assists was it? 11, Patrick, last season?
11, yeah.
Yeah, 11 assists last season.
With Edouard
I think the number. I think the numbers go up when you have a serious right back that's overlapping him. Because right now teams can focus more on Elise. They have to, of course, mark either Klein or Joe Ward, but it's not as a big of a threat as Elise is down the right side. You add another capable right back there. Pick out a player then. Pick out whether you, let's say, Serginho Dest, or for example's sake. Who are you going to mark? Serginho Dest or Elise? You can't double on Elise as much.
Right.
Or if you do, then it's going to open up space in other areas of the pitch. A right back nowadays is more than just defensively. It's attacking as well. And if we do sign one, I do agree with Amit. It should increase Elise's capability in terms of attacking wise, because he should have a bit more freedom and space down the right hand side, which is crazy though, Patrick. Without having that space as much, he's still got 11 assists. Like, it's crazy. Like, imagine once he adds goals as well to his game.
That's the crazy part. It's the fact he had 11 assists with Mateta and Edouard being the strikers. That's the crazy part. And I'm not trying to, I really think, I think Edouard can.
No, see, you got an agenda. You got an agenda against those two. You got an agenda. Like, I'm tired of the agendas.
I'm clarifying. One, I watch Edouard. I'm telling you, you talk about his decision making, but maybe not wrong. But I'm telling you, there's something mentally about it. It's not physical, it's mental. That guy, man, the guy's got to get his head right, because
I think he's just not quality enough, bro. I'll be honest, man.
Bro.
You might be able to,
man.
Yeah.
Ridiculous goals.
Well, to be fair, even his goal against Fulham, that wasn't easy. But you need to want it in the Premier League.
The Leeds goal was a great goal.
Home. Yeah, away from home.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, man.
We'll see next season. He needs to. You know what it is? He needs to want it, man. He needs to want it. I think if he wants it, he can do it. But again, that's a big if, because I'll be honest, certain players, I'm not saying this is Edouard, but certain players prefer the lifestyle more than anything. And if that's the case, then that's the case. So you need to want it in the Premier League. It's not as easy as the Scottish League is. So if he wants it, then I think he'll be able to do it. But that's a big if, and there's no suggestion that he will. So he'll have to prove it to us. But look, let's wrap it up, people. We managed to do a very long show, considering that it's probably been... Yeah, it's been the deadest day in terms of actual news. we managed to do the longest show, typical. But if you have enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, people. We're very close to 3,600, just basically inches away there. What happened, Patrick?
You were saying Panama and the Gold Cup semi-final. Got to go. Let's go. I didn't realize.
Okay. Oh, there's a game on.
Alert on my phone. I just got alert on my phone. Sorry. Big game, man. Big game.
Yeah, but if you have enjoyed it, like and subscribe, people. Hopefully we'll be here back again tomorrow, talking about some serious news, or maybe going back on memory lane once again, because Palace are quiet. Hopefully Zaha gets announced either tomorrow or end of this week.
I've got a show for tomorrow ready. If you don't want to do it, ready?
What is it?
Best striker Premier League era ever. There you go. Talk about that.
Jeez, the battle of mids. Jeez, like that will be a hard one. Not good with bad quality ones, but that
5
is
minute show. 5 minute show.
No, I think that'll be longer than today's show, because there's so many average ones where it's like who's more average than the other. I think that'll be interesting. But yeah. But people, let's wrap it up. Patrick. Hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow. But until then, up the Palace and keep safe, people.